morning, everybody. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville, and you are on the Lifeboat. So, I'm excited. What do you think of that? I'm excited. I went a little early today, but the sun's coming up a little earlier every day, and I'm not getting a full hour in, so I thought I would start a little early. V, good to see you. Monk, glad you're here. Full of hope, great to see you. Cannibalistic wolf, or the best of times, isn't that the question? Oh, isn't that the question? So you can't turn on Rick Smith. Good to see you, man. Glad you're here. You know, it is one of those things that if you turn on YouTube and don't go through a feed, just see what's out there. And it's not unique to YouTube, but since I'm a YouTuber, it's one of the things that jumps out at me, obviously. But it doesn't really matter where you look. We are in very unusual times on this planet right now. The crisis at the southern border here in the United States of America is pumping drugs, the likes of which we've never seen, into this country in ways that we've never seen. And we have this woke thing that's going on. And this year, 8 men, 1 woman of the year. We have a man on a Bud Light bottle dressed as a woman. This is an unusual time to be alive on this planet. And if I bring that up, I'm a hater. So that's all good because I'm fine with whatever labels I get thrown these days. I've gotten quite comfortable with it. I really have. We now live in times that are unparalleled, and every generation prior to my own has said the exact same thing, have they not? We've never had an election anywhere ever that people didn't say this is the most important election we've ever had in our lifetime. And it is just one of those things that people say. It's been said. It's always going to be said. And do I feel that the elections coming up will be the most important elections of all time? I do. But so is everybody always, right? If you go back to the 60s and the start of the drug war, people said, people are doing LSD. They're doing all of these drugs that are, more mind-bending and more mind-altering. And every single generation has felt the same thing. Now, we've got some evidence in our corner to say that this is absolutely the most extreme time that we've ever had, certainly with drugs, right? With the number of people who die every single day from drug overdoses, and with drugs being more dangerous than they've ever been. This is a time that is unparalleled on this planet. And I'll be really honest with you. I've gotten an hour of sleep. I did pull about a 4.5 hour nap yesterday, which was awesome. But I am getting less sleep than I've ever gotten in my life because there have been more people reaching out to me than ever before. As I said yesterday, and I have full permission to talk about, we've a family we're working with, a mother, a father, and a child, a daughter, all addicted to fentanyl. And these kind of things are happening every day with me now. And the people that are reaching out to me are in a state of desperation I've never seen before. And you sit around and I'm a believer, so I spend a lot of time in prayer, and you say to yourself, boy, there's just never been a time that has been this ugly. And there's a part of me that realizes this is the most exciting time to be alive that there has ever been, especially if you're me. If what you want to do is fight this war on drugs, then this is the time to be alive. Just plain and simple. I feel blessed that this is the time that we are here. Obviously, it's confusing, and sometimes it's going to be ugly, and there are times that it's going to really weigh on the hearts and minds and souls of people who are addicted to drugs. We are finding ourselves in a time that we're losing people at a rate that's not been seen before. And it makes you look to the future and say, what in hell are we going to do? How do we cope with the nonsense and the evil that seems to be everywhere you look? And I'm not talking about politics. I'm not talking about anything, just drugs in general. If we stick to just what we talk about on the Lifeboat, a time where every substance out there can kill you. This is a frightening time, especially for our brothers and sisters in addiction. But we've never, ever been at a place where somebody trying to help people get sober could do more good than you can do today. And the Lifeboat, the people who come here every morning and say, you know what, it's time for coffee. People that come here every day and say things like, make sure today that you tell somebody that you love them. The people that come here every day and just support anybody that steps onto this boat are doing more for this planet than you could have done at any other time in your life. And to me, that is an opportunity like none other we've seen before. And you don't have to become the captain of the Lifeboat to leave a mark in this generation. I think that I have watched in my lifetime the bowstring get pulled and get released. And I've seen this so many times. Anybody of a certain age, I'm not saying her age, but anybody of a specific age, people who are of the generation that I am in, we're seeing things that we've never seen. And the nature of life, the nature of politics, the nature of drugs, the nature of everything is that when you pull a bowstring as far as you can and you let go, it doesn't get back to where it started. It flies past that and a long way. And I think that we're going to see a renaissance of sobriety. I watched a video right before falling asleep for my hour. Somebody had sent me a video, and it is called, are you ready? It is called High Shaming. A guy talked about how it was after a sporting event, and this person had just won a major championship. And he said, boy, you know, we went out and we got loaded. We went out, we drank so much last night. I can't tell you the hangover, blah, blah, blah. And the number of people who came out and said, you know what, that's not cool. Why are you bragging about getting so intoxicated that it left you with, you know, withdrawal sickness in the morning? Why would that be something that you want to brag about? And I'm watching this, shaking my head and scratching my head and going, holy mackerel. I've never seen a time in this country where it's not cool to get high. I've never seen a time in drug culture where getting high is not considered cool anymore. From the time I was about 11 years old, the whole concept of getting wasted or going out and partying, again, air quotes with the partying, because I party now like I've never partied. If you watch the silliness between my brother and I, we live in a party world. We just don't do drugs. You know, there's so much that you can do in this world that don't revolve around getting a buzz. And for the longest time, films, you know, anything that was pervasive in modern culture just talked about getting high. There is a artist out these days named Tom McDonald, and you don't need to necessarily subscribe to Tom McDonald's political affiliations. I don't care if you do or not. But here's a guy that's coming out and talking about how a generation would rather get wasted on, you know, designer Adderall. You know, he's talking about the different color Adderall pills, and he's talking about all of these songs are hammering home that the generation today, instead of changing the world, they'd rather catch a buzz. And to listen to the music and to listen to all of the things that are happening right now, the bowstring is snapping back in the opposite direction further than it did. I believe, maybe naively, but I believe that when we have left our mark on this world, when we have finished our mission, and my mission eventually is going to come to an end. The Lifeboat won't, but certainly I will, and that's the nature of any fight, right? You fight until you can't anymore, and hopefully, if it's a good fight and it's a righteous fight, then someone else is going to take it up. And I believe that when this is all said and done, that this stage of drug abuse and this stage of drug addiction is going to be something that changes the next generation in such a way that we're really going to see a renaissance in sobriety. I think that being sober is starting to be cool, which isn't something that I ever thought would happen in my life. I never thought I would see a time when there were more people talking about getting sober than there were about getting high. And even when I started the Lifeboat, this is a 2-year-old project, or mission, or life, magnum opus, whatever you want to call it. But when I started the Lifeboat, there was a tremendous amount of pushback against what I was doing by people that just said, you know what, let people get a buzz. Why are you such a buzzkill? And it's TJ, good to see you. Glad that you're here. I've never seen a time where I get less crap for what I do. And every day it's different. I'm getting to the point where every single day I get more people who are excited by what I'm doing. And there are people who are still getting high who are excited by what I'm doing. And there's what we're doing, what the Lifeboat is doing. And I had 5 emails in the last 3 days of people who have reached out to me to ask me about doing public speaking. And that's been happening since I got out of prison, because I did spend a decent amount of time doing that for a living, and built up a bit of a reputation in the industry. But since getting free, the offers that I get have nothing to do with drugs or sobriety. The offers I get are people that want me to come out and sell whatever it is that they sell, the flavor of the month club, business opportunity, or motivational stuff or whatever. But those are the offers that I get for public speaking. And in the last 72 hours, I probably had 6 offers for public speaking by people that want me to talk about this. And it's one of those situations where I don't want to, freak everybody out and take you down a path that you don't necessarily want to go on. But it's something that I'm going to spend a lot of time. At first you go, oh man, I'm doing all of these, right? I'm gonna go speak at every one of these because it's going to be an opportunity to get the word for the boat out as fast as possible. I have to discernment, I think, is a friend of mine was talking about this with me earlier, and discernment is something that I'm going to have to practice going forward in a way that I haven't done before. But it's just exciting that people want that. It's exciting that the message that we're doing on the Lifeboat is catching wind at its back. So are these the worst of times? Probably. I think that they probably are. In fact, let me rephrase that because I'm knocking the corners off of it. These are the worst of times. Make no mistake. These are absolutely the worst of times. But they're the only times I've ever known. And they're the only times that anybody here has ever known. I mean, we lived through the 80s and we lived through the 70s, and it seems like they were better and more wholesome times. And I'm sure that they were. I'm absolutely sure that they were. But I think that we have a potential right now to shape the future in a way that we haven't before. When all of this started with fentanyl, and when fentanyl became the drug of choice, whether you wanted it to be or not, because they're going to add it to drugs that never intended to be an opiate, or never intended to have that effect, right? They're adding it to stimulants, they're adding it to cocaine, they're adding it to everything. Prior to fentanyl, the drug world had a completely different view about drugs. Drug users had a different view. Now people in that life who are getting high every day are miserable in a way that I've not seen before. When I started the Lifeboat, I was trying to get people off of heroin, and it's a different mindset. It's a different drug. I was trying to get people off cocaine, and it's a different mindset, and it's a different drug. And it didn't matter what it was, whether it was Adderall or street speed or whatever. There was just that feeling of you're a buzzkill, Tommy. You're taking away everybody's opportunity for fun. And the number of people that used to send me emails I used to get one a day that said things along the lines of, so basically you got to go out and get high and have a good time getting wasted, and you don't want anyone else to do that. And, I tried to explain to people that that whole fun thing was over before I could even realize that it was started. And then I was into the slavery of drug addiction. I don't get those emails anymore because the world is becoming aware of the fact that, especially in countries of the West, right? Countries that don't subscribe to the political leanings of the beast from the East. There is a whole understanding now that drugs are not what they used to be, that this isn't about escapism, and this isn't about recreation, and this isn't about getting high. This is now about killing people. And it's starting to sink in. So are these the worst of times? Yeah. But they're the best of times to be Tommy Scoville. And if you believe in the message of the Lifeboat, then this is the greatest opportunity. We're never going to see another opportunity like this. We have an ability to shape the future. And we talk about the ripples. I've done, I think, 2 shows now on the ripple effect of what happens when one person gets sober. Time for new friends. Absolutely it is. It's time for friendship is a different thing than it was even a year ago. V's been here forever. Charlie's been here forever. And the boat feels different today than it felt a year ago. A year ago, there was almost a fraternity kind of a feeling. And I don't mean like fraternity house kind of a feeling, but I mean, there was a fraternal bond between people on this, on the channel, that we were all trying to overcome something. And now it's bigger than that. Now it's that there's this message of hope that we're giving to the world, that that's not how the boat started. It really is a completely different animal. I'll tell you something else. And I walk a tightrope on this. I really do. I walk a tightrope on this, but I have a strong religious belief, and there is a renaissance in people looking for connection in a religious way that they haven't before. And I'm not going to turn the Lifeboat into a church. It's never going to happen. I will tell you this. When I get to Arizona, I intend to have a place that people who want to hear more about what I believe spiritually will have an opportunity to go and do that. It will not be forced upon the boat, because the boat is about helping people get sober so that they can decide what they want to do with their life in terms of education, recreation, and of course, for the meaning of life. Why are we here? The huge questions. But I am going to put into place a where I can go and share more about what it is I believe. And I think that that's important to me. Sobriety is its own church. There's no question. There's absolutely no question, Monk. And I think it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to talk to people about the more important things in life. And what a great comment, because the fact is that, as great a comment as that is, Monk, and it is, man, it's a great comment. I think that for people that may not seem logical to, I would like you to think of it in the opposite direction, because I think it makes a hell of a lot of sense if you go that way. Addiction is the theft of that. And what I mean by that is, thank you, Rick. I'm going to do it. This is I've been thinking about this and praying about this for a very long time. I'm not going to damage the boat. For those of you who are not Christians, you do not have to worry about me turning the Lifeboat into a religious channel. That is not going to happen. I need to be able to help people get sober, and that's the number one goal for me. It really is, because I've said this before. People who are trapped in the life do not have time for things like God or spirituality or the bigger questions in life. In fact, you can't get by the how am I going to not be sick today? That is the overwhelming thing. And I think that when Monk says sobriety is its own church, it is, because when you eliminate the chemicals, when you eliminate chemicals from your life, all of a sudden you have the important questions in life. Am I being a good father? Am I being a good friend? Why am I on this planet? What does that mean to me? What do I believe? What do I believe happens when you leave this planet? All of those questions are not allowed to take place while you're in active addiction. So, sobriety is its own church. And if not, it is certainly the doorway to every other church. And I am, V, I think that's awesome. I'm against anybody that uses any religion to do harm to anyone. And I would be naive and I would be a liar if I didn't say that there has been more harm done in the name of God on this planet than there has been in any other way. Sadly, that is a fact. But I am excited about 2023, the remainder of it. Because I think that this is a golden opportunity for people who are moving into a life of freedom, a life of sobriety, to start to take a very hard look at what you believe and a very hard look at what you want to be other than sober. I've never been as excited to be alive as I am today. And I'm not naive. I'm not Pollyanna. I think the world is in a complete and utter shitstorm. I would be lying if I never said that. Yes, Tommy, I've never meant people to think I don't believe in a higher power. I'm sure I know that you do, V. I have read enough of things that you've written, and we've been together long enough where I know that you are a spiritual person, V. I don't, but this is everyone in general. I don't ever want the boat to be a place where I say, this is what you need to believe. You need to be sober. I really believe that if you want to live your best life, chemicals are the biggest impediment to living your best life on this planet. And I believe that if chemicals can make you not care about being a father, they can certainly make you not care about your soul. And they made me not care about being a dad. When I was in the life, I was dumb enough to walk into a bank and say, I need all of the money. And not once or twice, but I did it a lot. And that's one of those things that could never happen to somebody who was living a balanced and a happy and a successful life. And drugs take that away. But for the vast majority of the time that drugs have been prevalent, and they've been prevalent forever, by the way. The poppy was discovered thousands of years ago, before Christ walked the planet. The poppy was being used to treat pain, and there were tons of other drugs that had already been were being used, I hate the term, but recreationally, used as a form of entertainment. But it has changed to a place now where you don't have to tell people about the evils of drugs, because every single day people are talking about the evils of drugs. They're talking about the fact that drugs are a weapon, and they haven't been in the past. In modern times, they were, if you listen to Cole Porter, right? Cole Porter wrote songs in the 20s, and he sings of cocaine in the 20s, right? I Get a Kick Out of You is the name of the song. And that song was written, I believe, in the 20s, if not the 30s. But, he talks about, not getting a kick from champagne or not getting a kick from cocaine, one little whiff. But it's been a part of the counterculture for a very long time. Now it is a part of mainstream culture. It's not a part of counterculture. It is in your face. This stuff that we do with social media and with the with the advent of YouTube and the advent of the microphone, right, and the camera, and the ability for somebody who has been a bank robbing drug addict to sit down and talk to other people and try to warn them about the pitfalls and the things that can happen if you allow drugs to take over your life. It is giving people an opportunity to have a platform who never would have had a platform before. And I watch so many channels of people that I would say do what I do, but nobody really does what we do here on the Lifeboat. It's a very different concept. You know what I mean? There are people who make videos that are just phenomenal, so much better at it than I am. What they don't do is give people who are in recovery an opportunity to come together and talk. And that's really what the Lifeboat is. You know, the background noise of who is sitting in this seat, whether it's me or Heather or Johnny or anyone else who is going to take the wheel. You notice less sniffing? I navaged before I went on this morning. A friend advised me to navage as well. But as it turns out, I'm really sniffly in the morning. I don't like the early morning navage is the most rugged of all navages, but I see better on a platform. That's a really great comment. Monk's on fire. I see an awful lot better on this platform. I'll tell you that. It's amazing. I've been free for 4 days. I have been a member of society now for 4 days, and nothing changed. Right? I mean, obviously, my attitude. I feel free. It's a beautiful feeling, and my debt to society is paid. I feel like I don't have them looking over my shoulder, which is a lovely thing. But I spent a lot of time in meditation yesterday thinking about this, that had there been any other time in my life where they said, okay, no more drug tests, nobody's watching you, you've got nothing to worry about, good Lord, I would have been like, party, right? That would have been an opportunity to go snort, smoke, inject, drink, anything that I could put into my body. John Doe says, I never feel free. You know, I didn't for a really long time. I'm 52 years old. I'll be 53 really shortly. In the 52 years that I've been on this planet, I have probably not had adult supervision from a government authority for maybe 3 years of that time. I mean, after becoming of a legal age, maybe 3 years of that time. But I've been free long before the government made me officially free. I started, my freedom started when I met Q. It didn't happen overnight. It came in steps. There were things that I had to do, and there were assignments that I was given. The greatest thing that has ever happened to me in terms of freedom was the journal. Journaling has done more for me than organized religion. Journaling has done more for me than anything that I've done in my life to make me a better person and a more centered and a more grounded individual. Freedom, I think, for me started with the pen, which was really an unusual concept because, as I've talked about many times on the boat, the pen was always my biggest stumbling block. My ability to do what I'm doing now has always been my ace in the hole so that I didn't have to pick a pen up. And one of the reasons that I spent so much time of my life wasted is because of my inability to write and what that meant to me. The frustration of not being able to get what I had in my head onto a piece of paper was a dramatic, life-turning thing for me. It's what drove me into 30 years of heroin addiction. I got to a point where I realized that with journaling, there's nobody that's going to read it but me. And that was liberating. Didn't matter if my punctuation was good. It didn't matter if the words were spelled wrong. It just was whatever I felt like I needed to get out. And every day, people, every single day, journaling releases something that I didn't have my mind in the right place on. It's been amazing. And Rick, thank you. It's anything could have happened. You know, I've told the story on the boat. I'm pretty sure I told the story on the boat, but I sold a watch to a guy. And the guy I sold the watch to started to email me back and forth a lot, and which is unusual. You know, normally I sell a watch to somebody and they kind of disappear unless there's something wrong with the watch. You know, they don't become friends, so to speak. But this guy sent me some music and said, what do you think of this? And it was classical. It was beautiful. This very young child. Kid can't be more than 11 or 12, but it's just a prodigy sitting down and playing the piano. And it was such a cool thing. But we sort of became friends, and we started to go back and forth between things. And this is about a month ago. And I got an email from him that said, "You're in the Wild West. How do you feel about guns?" And the email went on to say, "Because I can get them for you at a price you won't believe. I can get you guns less than wholesale, and you would have an opportunity to make an awful lot of money selling them." And this is bizarre, right? Like, this is a guy that he's in theory, this guy is a senior citizen, right? So, and he has a difficult ability to see the face of the watch, which is why, we started talking in the first place. I had to find him an analog watch with really large hands, so that, anyway, I got a 70-year-old guy trying to sell me illegal firearms inexpensively. And my email back to him, I said, "Oh, I love guns. I've always been an absolute huge fan of guns. It is bait, Monk. I promise you it is." I said, "I love guns. I have been really been a huge fan my entire life. Unfortunately, I can never possess one ever again. And I promise you, people, I didn't think in terms of this is bait. I didn't think in terms of this guy's trying to get me in trouble. I'm just not that person anymore. I don't care how much I can make selling guns. That's how I went to prison the last time. I was a gun runner. So I just wrote the truth. And it didn't occur to me until way later in the day. Like, I'm cruising around, 6-7 hours after I sent the email, going, holy crap, that guy had to be a Fed. And I was right at the end. Like, I had just filed all of the paperwork. And I guarantee you, the watch was a very inexpensive one. And the funniest part is, it's like a $130 watch or something. But the funniest part was the person sent me an email with the code of the watch. And I said, "Oh, that's not the code. You're describing a different watch than the one you looked at. I can find you that watch." I said, "But that's not the watch that you're looking at. It's a completely different watch. And don't buy the watch you don't want. If the reference number you're looking for is this, give me 2 weeks. I'll find you a good example of it. And if it's broken, I'll fix it and it'll save you some money. But you don't want to buy a watch that's not the right watch." He pulls the trigger on it and sent an email that just said, "Well, you've been so kind. I'll give this one a try anyway." Do I think it's a setup? I do. I really do. But I didn't answer him the way that I answered him because I thought it was a setup. I answered him the way that I answered him because I don't subscribe to that lifestyle anymore. My brother won the right to bear arms after he was in prison. He's also part of a motorcycle gang. If he can win the rights to own a gun, so can you. You know what? You can get those rights back. The bank robbery and the gun running thing would make it about a 15-year process. But I'm not terribly concerned about it anyway. I am free, and I don't see me picking up a gun again. I'm not anti-gun. I assure you, I think that they're a great thing, and I think the right to bear arms is an incredible right that everybody should have. Sadly, it is something that I am done with in my life. So, but so obviously it's a setup, right? But it's, again, we live in really amazing times. In any other time in the world, they wouldn't be able to reach out to you the way that they do now. When I was in prison, I knew a guy, I knew several. The story happened many times, but I knew one very intimately. He was in my drug group, my drug class. He was a gangster disciple, which is a pretty rough gang that's out of Chicago. But he accepted a friend request on Facebook. And on Facebook, there was a picture of him and about 10 other guys, and they're doing all of these things with their guns, and they got piles of money. It's just a gang picture. But in one of the pictures, the guy's this way, and he's got the guns crossed over. But they blew up the bottom of those guns and read the serial number off of the stamp on the bottom of this weapon and found out that the guns were stolen. And that's how the guy went to prison. which is absolutely remarkable. Once again, we live in a very different time and a very different world. It's kind of amazing, what we've become, and I see better with a platform, but we live in modern times that are just so much different. But I'm 100% sure that this was somebody that was sent by the federal government to see if Tommy was still an idiot, and I didn't turn him down because I thought of who he was. I honestly didn't. That didn't occur to me for a long time afterwards. You're getting ready to do some work today. Well, please be careful, Dominic Spalato. Please. Work can be a dangerous thing. I am cramping right now in a way that I can't explain. People, I'm going to try to get through the rest of the lifeboat, but I am having some stomach problems right now that are just unbelievable. It is unconstitutional to infringe on our Second Amendment for any reason. And the 10th Amendment actually protects us from any unconstitutional laws being made. I agree with you. I do. And it says no law shall ever be made. I read it. I'm 100% with you on it. However, it's probably not my fight, but I do absolutely agree with you 100%. Your friend has a brother in the same prison where my ex is. That is actually kind of humorous. John Doe says it's not paranoid if it's happening. I had a friend that used to say all of the time he was a drug dealer and a fairly large one. But they basically make whatever laws. You're right. You're absolutely right. And they've been doing it forever, Tommy. We know that. 100% right. I had a friend, John, that used to say, just because I'm paranoid doesn't mean everybody's not out to get me. And it's a sad story, really, because he would go off on these tangents, and you would just go. He was a guy that smoked a lot of meth, and we would go, "Holy mackerel! Like, how far gone is he in terms of paranoia and everything else?" He was talking to me and a friend one day, and he said, "They're under my floorboards. They've literally tunneled under my house." He says, "I can hear them under there, like putting in." He was talking about how he heard them talking about a recording device. And we were just like, "Oh man, this dude's got to quit smoking meth." And he would say, "Just because I'm paranoid doesn't mean they're not out to get me." And I went to prison. And when I got out, I was talking to an old friend, and he said, I said, "So what happened to so-and-so?" And they said, "Oh, he's in prison. He's doing a lot of time." I said, "Oh, they broke through the floorboards in the kitchen, did they?" And he goes, "That's exactly what they did." He said they were underneath this guy's house with listening devices. And this poor guy, I think everybody tried to probably make him feel like he was, paranoid and crazy, because we were always, telling him, "Come on, dude, there's nobody tunneling under you." But they actually went under this guy's house. You know what, people? I love you all. I really do. This isn't about the sun coming up. This is about cramping to the point where I can't stay here anymore. I'm having stomach issues that are, I suppose if you do 800 of these, this is going to happen from time to time, but I am not in fine fettle. So I'm afraid I'm going to be cutting this short. I really apologize, people, but I'm having some trouble, and I'm going to go and visit the restroom. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville. People, I will see you tomorrow. I apologize, but I'm not even going to give you a cat in a basket. I got to run. I love you all. Have a great day. Make it a great day. God bless you.